Welcome back to Watch Talk. I'm very excited to share the history of the Rolex Explorer. I think I will give my full analysis at the end of what I think the Rolex Explorer means to me, but it is one of the lowest key watches. What I mean by that is it's very not like when you go walk into a room, it doesn't have a cyclops. Typically, it's not in precious metals. It's a stainless steel sports watch, and we're going to go over the history, and definitely it is a tool watch, and it will be for that for a very long time. So I think it's very special in the Rolex catalog. Jumping right into it, the first Rolex name was 1953, but we should go back one year to 1952, which when they had bubble back. So that was they were more robust movements. The longevity was there, but the name wasn't there until 1953. That's when they started printing them with the reference 6298 and 6350. These two references were the original watches. They had the 369 numerals going around, and that's how you could tell it's a Rolex Explorer, because those are the only ones that have the 369 in that layout. Then in 1963, they had the longest reference, 1016. So this was the longest reference ever in the history of Rolex to keep producing without changing. That is incredible. And this type of watch was not like the Submariner that blew up. It was not like the GMT Master at all. These retained its value, but it didn't go extremely high in value at the time. It just lasted a very long time, and people knew what they were getting with this type of watch. A rugged mountaineer watch. It also upgraded to the 1030 movement. It stated 50 meters of water resistance turned into 100 meters. And then later they actually made improvements on the bracelet too. So they made it solid end links, which is a big thing for Rolex because they used to use, hollow end links, and all the really old Datejust and other ones were folded links. And that's not too comfortable, but they made them nice. Then that leads us to 1971. So 1971, they were still producing the regular Explorer line, but they wanted something for cave dwellers and going in and exploring caves. So they came up with the Explorer II. It was the reference 1655. It had a 24-hour hand that could move and tell you the home time and where you are. So it always kept you up to date, because if you're in a cave, you don't know all the type of stuff. Very, very cool. I like the polar dial. There's different iterations, but it's very, very neat Explorer. And throughout the years, it still stays. And they called the Explorer II the Steve McQueen watch, which confused me because I know Steve McQueen as the Hoyer Monaco, right? That's what I know. But he wore typically Submariners. He didn't really wear... First of all, I couldn't find a picture of him actually wearing the Rolex Explorer II, and I don't think he really wore that much. He might have owned it in his collection. I'm just not sure. So I think that was just a given name for the watch. I don't know why it was considered that. Then moving to 1989. So 1989 came up with the reference 14270. So when this reference came out, it was a huge improvement on multiple levels. We got sapphire with the watch. We got a new caliber, the Caliber 3000, a great improvement on the watch. It adds to the ruggedness and robustness of the watch. Gold indexes on the 3, 6, and 9. So they actually added them in gold so they would last longer. As we know, Rolex is very good with gold. They add their own alloys to make it seem different, the different colors. I've held a day date from a bit before I think they made the gold in the 2000s. It might have been the 90s day date. And I've held a date just from 2000s. You could totally tell the difference between the gold on each one. Now, of course, the other one's two-toned and one of them is solid gold, but they did make an improvement with their gold, and they have changed their gold over the years. This is very good because it lasts, the longevity of the indices will last longer. Then in 2010, there was the 24270. So when this came out, this was the biggest improvement. This is actually one of the last references. They ran until today, 2020. So they came out 10 years ago. This watch was bumped up for a beefier case size of 39 millimeters. Yeah, 39 from the 36. The improvements was a 3132 movement and chromalite. So that's a blue lume, but it lasts a very long time. Chromalite's a very, very good improvement on the watch and the longevity of the lume over time. That leads us to today. So what is the Rolex Explorer today? Well, honestly, it could be dressed up, could be dressed down. I also want to mention James Bond, the writer of James Bond, Ian Fleming, wrote the character of James Bond to have the Rolex Explorer, but instead they went with Sean Connery and the Submariner. So Sean Connery went with the Submariner. I just want to say that because Ian Fleming actually wore the Rolex Explorer. He liked the Rolex Explorer. So it's very, very interesting how that whole thing played out with the Submariner instead. But that gives you also a perspective. And on Mad Men, Jon Hamm is wearing a Rolex Explorer with a suit. So originally, yes, they were rugged and robust, and they still are today. You can go out and use them. We see with Jon Hamm with the Rolex Explorer wearing it with a suit, and then Ian Fleming with these people. These are fantastic, huge people, especially, well, he's an actor, but Ian Fleming's one of the best writers ever. And this just shows you the versatility of the watch. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for watching one of my favorite watches from Rolex, and also it's out of the Rolex spotlight too. So it's very, very neat watch. I want to thank you all for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. It really does help the channel and helps me produce more content for you. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one.